Society. It is your host with the most, Shadow Loke, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like and comment. It's free. It don't cost anything. You'll help my channel get into the algorithm. I would highly appreciate it. Now, what I wanted to talk about was the last time I did a video talking about, why don't I believe in God and stuff like that. And, I've gotten some feedback in return. One of the things that I find interesting whenever I talk about this subject, because I knew it was going to open this can of worms, but in a good way, is people don't understand, from my point of view, right? So they're quick to judge, right? Which, is one of the more reasons of what I find wrong with religion and all that, that people misinterpret what they're trying to say or what they're trying to teach, right? People end up concocting something completely different. Right? Because as soon as I tell people that I don't believe in God, they automatically assume I'm lost, I'm miserable, or I'm a bad person or doing bad things and stuff like that. When there's a lot of people that don't believe in God, then they're not bad people. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to atheists, so you do have some atheists that are, troubled, disturbed, lost, and talk a lot of smack to those who believe in religion, right? They belittle them, they talk smack, like I said, but them individuals are lost themselves, you know what I mean? They don't speak in behalf for everyone who doesn't believe in the Lord, right? Just like you have some Christians or Catholics or, religious people who think that they're better than somebody else just because, like, let's say we don't go to church and we don't believe in God. They think that they're better than us, right? They think they're above us and that, they get first dibs and that they think that they're above somebody when no one's above nobody in this world. And if anything, if you're reading the Bible, that's what it's teaching you. Yeah, they completely, miss the whole entire message in general. They want to insult people who don't believe in God. They want to talk shit, belittle, when the Bible is supposed to teach you the opposite of all of that. Yet these individuals don't seem to make that connection or have it click. That's not going for those who are in my comments who respectfully were debating against me. I'm talking, that was for the ones who completely went after haywire, calling me names and stuff like that, and saying I'm gonna go to hell and stuff like that. When it's like, why are you so mad? Why are you so bitter for? Like, I didn't insult you. Why are you coming insulting me for? And I'm the bad one. See, I came from a heavily religious family, right? Very religious, going to church, the whole works, right? But see, I always been a person who always liked the way, I always wanted to understand how things work. I'm not somebody who's how could I say? I'm not someone who could just be silenced with a simple answer, right? I'm not someone who just, like, you give me an answer and I accept that as an answer and I run with it. I like to get to know the understanding of how something works, like break down to the very beginning to each and every corner of how something works. That is the way I learn. That is the way that I like to learn. That is the way that I see it, So when I was younger, we would go to church and, the thing is, probably because I'm a gang member, maybe that's why individuals think that I don't educate myself when it comes to this subject, or I never read the Bible, or I don't talk to these individuals. No, I have educated myself, have read, have talked to people. You know what I mean? I'm not just some ignorant person who's on here who just likes talking out of anger, or I'm lost. I'm a humble individual. I have peace with myself. I'm at peace. I'm not angry. I'm not being this way because I felt like God turned his back on me. None of that. You know what I mean? It's just that when it comes to facts and logic and the understanding, this makes absolutely no sense and it contradicts everything. So that's why I just find it, not true or whatever. But like I said, am I no way insulting religion? Like I said, I tip my hats off to my wife's religion and stuff like that. Religious, I tip my hats and I like what it does for individuals and it helps individuals. I have nothing against religion, nothing at all. I praise it. Yet individuals have a problem with me not liking it. And trust me, I've gone to church, sat down and stuff like that. It just doesn't work for me. Like, because when I'm hearing all this information, it just leaves me with a million questions that no one else is asking, that no one cares to ask, or no one is cared to know, and they're just happy and like they just settle for what they're given, and it's like, bro, that opens like what about this, what about that, like it's but maybe because people want that to believe it's so, that they choose not to ask these questions. Because I find that a lot of people, including us individuals, when we see things a certain way, so when people explain stuff to us, we just grab that because we want to see it in that way, you know what I mean, but we don't care to ask everything else. um I have always been, well, not always, but in my later years, right? Because when I was younger, I didn't like learning. I was a fool, knucklehead, all that, right? It wasn't until, you have nothing better to do and nothing better to read. You're only given limited options and all you have is time in your hands that you start to educate yourself, right? And it is in my free time, or in the time, that I found, how could I say, to educate myself and stuff like that. I started, reading a whole lot of, books and philosophers from great individuals. Plato, John Locke, uh, Immanuel Kant, and my favorite of all time, obviously, Friedrich Nietzsche. That's who he is in the cover, for those who want to know. Friedrich Nietzsche. Phenomenal philosopher, one of the greatest of all time, one of the greatest minds. Even though his later years, how it ended, it doesn't take away from his brilliantness. And I recommend his books, right? He had a total way of, an interesting way of looking at life, right? His perspective of life that made sense, a whole lot of sense to me. And before I was troubled and, I was a fool and stuff like that, and everything, just didn't make any sense and stuff like that. It wasn't until I, read Friedrich Nietzsche's work that everything finally made sense to me. And I felt like a burden was lifted off my shoulders. I felt good, actually. I felt great, actually. Probably the feeling that people, when they find, religion or God in their life, probably that feeling, I'm assuming that that's probably what it felt like, right? But this time, it finally felt right for me, right? It finally made right because everything now made sense. Everything finally aligned itself. Everything finally made sense. I was finally at peace with myself when I read his work. And he brings the true realism. There's some people that think of Friedrich Nietzsche and that he brings a dark view to life. It's not a dark view. It's just he's being honest. He's being real. He's being true. Saying stuff that some people just too scared to say. Sometimes you need truth in your life, and he just brings you the straight up truth. Not from a negative point of view, just from I'm not gonna lie to you here. This is what I honestly think of how it is and why. But everything finally made sense, and I was finally at peace. It was probably one of the greatest days of my life. You know what I mean? I could honestly, truly say, next to getting jumped in to my neighborhood. But I'm being real. I'm being, probably, some of the best, things in my life. And his work is phenomenal. I do recommend it. But everything finally made sense, right? How, why everything is the way it is, why people behave the way they behave, and truly, for everything how it is. Because he finally gave the answers, and breaking, down with facts, and actual, facts, something real, not just going on what ifs or just believe or, I see people think that I don't have any faith. I have faith. I have faith. I have faith in humanity, though. I have faith in us human beings that we could overcome any obstacle course. I'm not saying that we're doomed. This life is shit. No, this life is great. This life is good. Life is precious. Life is good. And that we could do anything that we set our minds to. But that's all, within us. We all have that capability. You know what I mean? I see the world as good. I see humanity as good. Even with all the scandalous bad things that happens in this planet, they happen for a reason, for us to learn, and we learn from our mistakes, right? It makes us better. All the mistakes and obstacle courses that we ever face in our life, it makes us better, makes us wiser, makes us smarter. In order to feel, joy, you must have felt pain. That's how you know now what joy feels like. So you need all of this. You get what I mean? But now it all finally makes sense from a breakdown perspective and not just going based off some fairy tales, in my opinion. But like I said, I believe in Jesus. Believe he was a phenomenal philosopher, and I believe he broke down the stories in his way in order to get these people to understand what he was trying to say, right? So all of that makes sense to me. The Bible is one of the greatest philosopher books of all time. It's full of a lot of philosophy, a lot of great lessons and teachings. It is, but I just don't believe the mythical part about it, right? The immortality and superpowers and godly beings. I just don't believe in all that. But I'm not taking away from those who do believe it. Whatever helps people get by, and I know some people just need something to hold on. Like I said, I'm not taking away nothing. I'm not calling them dumb, stupid, nothing like that. More power to them, because I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. I could potentially be wrong in all of this, right? I could potentially be wrong, and just because I don't believe doesn't mean I'm a bad person or I'll do bad things or none of that, bro. Because I believe man is naturally good. Now, here's the thing, where I break it down to individuals, right? A good subscriber of mine, right, who was debating with me in the comments. Shout out to him. He had put that if if you believe in God, if you believe in God, have faith, and there is a God, then you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. But if there's no God, that's if there's no God. But if there's a God, you have everything to lose now. Um, but here's the thing: like, let's say I've been good my whole entire life. Let's say I'm a good person. I've been good my whole entire life, never committed no sin, been a good person, but I just don't believe in God, right? And now I die. Would God still turn me down and turn me away, even though I never did nothing bad in my life and I always been a good person? Would he still turn me away, though? Or how is just because I don't believe in him automatically it makes me a bad person, or I'm evil and stuff? How, if I've been a good person all my life and done nothing but good deeds throughout my life? So how am I a better person, though? Would he still turn me away? Is what I'm trying to say. If he's as lovable and humbling like people say, then he won't. And we can have that talk once we get to that point. You know what I mean? If he truly senses that I'm being sincere, because that's exactly what is being taught and teach to you. Everything else that people say, no, you must believe in all of that and stuff like that, I feel like that's the government's, plot and point of how they want to shove religion down people in order to get them in line, right? For people won't commit evil and sin and stuff like that. That's when I feel like that's when they add their tentacles to the equation, right? Because it doesn't make any sense from what you're saying to what's being taught. You know what I mean? It contradicts each other, unless you're adding that just to keep me in line. And if you're adding that just to keep me in line, then what else is being added, or what else is being, tinkered and tapped with in order to make it fit? You get what I'm saying? And then that's where I have the issues and the problem with the trying to force to control somebody, or the fact that you need to force, to control somebody. Like, why do you feel like you have to do that? Do you have no faith in man? Do you believe that if people don't believe that they'll be evil and do all kinds of destruction? And why do you have that point of view on humanity? Why? Because certain individuals have done some heinous crimes like that. So we're going based off of just a few, right? Even though there's a shitload. When it comes to the overall population of the world and overall the amount of people that there is in the planet, it's just a few, right? So you're going based off of a few individuals' actions. You're going to try to say, you're going to brand all humanity as to being that way, or potentially could be that way, or will do that. Of course, we all have the potential to do bad things and be evil and stuff like that. Doesn't necessarily mean that we are all evil or we will do something bad. It depends how you look at things, right? It depends how you see man, because it shows that you have no faith in humanity. And yeah, sure, why should you? I mean, all the chaos that you see in the world, it makes it really hard to have faith in humanity. But like I said, it's a lot of bad things that are occurring and stuff like that, but there's a lot of good things that are occurring, but you don't hear about the good things, right? You see most of the negativity than the positivity, right? So that's why the people have this perspective or, view that life is bad or humanity in general is bad because of a few incidents, right? Because in overall, if we're talking about the whole entire population and how the whole entire population behaves, even though it's a lot of bad people and a lot of bad things, it's still a small percentage when it comes to the overall. but people don't see it from that point of view, or from that angle, or from when we're talking about in general when it comes to humanity, right? Because they just home in on their area, the incidents that they have seen and witnessed and been a part of. That's what they're basing all their, but I look at the bigger picture. I could have said and believe it just and seen it how everyone else sees it, right? Because of how I grew up, the area I come from, and all the bad things that have happened, and I've been a part of, and all of that. Then yeah, I could say that there's no F all this everything, but this is not just about me. We're talking about overall in general. So I must look at everybody else's perspective, and how they live their life, and overall incidents, right? Look at the bigger picture, because this is above me. Right, when we're talking about these kind of things. So I look at it from that angle, and from that angle, I could honestly say, even though, from my point of view, in my experiences, I could say that if, this whole place is a shit dumb, you know what I mean? But this is above me, talking about overall. But that's overall my opinion. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. I hope I explained myself a little bit better right here. Shadow, we out.